Blizzard devs finally admit that they are working on something to help alts and returning players in 8.3. More buffs coming to the positive effects on corrupted items, while Method are getting ready for the Ny'alotha World First race, and Bob the Fish is coming back! All this plus more in On Cooldown, the weekly WoW News show you and me both missed. As we're counting the fingers on our hands to know how many days are left until 8.3 lands, you know the main discussion is about essences and how will 8.3 address new players coming in and alts. You and me both know that they should have made essences account-wide by now, and there's really no goddamn excuse for them not doing so. I mean, you can throw at me all the MMOs theories you want, they just don't apply to the development of BFA. 8.3 will also introduce the Legendary Cloak, an item to become mandatory for you in order to be relevant in the content. So, with the essences and the cloak, Blizzard has been a bit silent when it came to these things affecting new players, returning players, and alts, until now. So WoW had published an interview with Bybee and Steve Danuser where a lot of stuff was discussed, and it's a pretty interesting read. You should definitely read it fully after watching the video. But one thing that was addressed was exactly our concerns, and props to Squishy from Wowhead for that. Granted, the question was addressed if there will be any catch-up mechanics for alts and latecomers for the Legendary Cloak, but the answer Mike provided was more than reassuring, and I strongly believe it covers essences also. He said, quote, "I know we've talked about this a lot. We're really not ready to announce anything specific with that, but it's something that we've been discussing and trying to make sure that this patch doesn't feel like punishment for people who come back and play later or for alts. Nothing really to announce right now." And that last line is the most important, them publicly acknowledging that they don't want the last patch of the game to feel punishing for alts or players coming back later. I mean, think about it. When it comes to essences, if your class really needs condensed life force, that is an essence you can only get by doing the Eternal Palace raid, and that gated also, forcing players to do that when really very well know it's almost impossible to find a group that does the previous raid tier, and guilds are trying to progress towards the new raid. Well, almost all players are, which is pretty normal at the end of the day, right? I know for a fact that I've tried multiple times to do the Crucible raid and there was no one doing it. No one! Anywho, it's reassuring that they are working on something to address this, and if my judgment is correct, all essences will be account-wide somewhere in April or May when Shadowlands beta should drop. The main thing you should think about is that they still would like it if you'd played the hamster wheel for a couple of more months, ideally until guilds start clearing mythic and heroic Ny'alothas, and also have Shadowlands beta come along so that the content flow is steady, and after all that, this thing that they cannot talk about yet will be a thing, and I am almost certain that it will be about essences becoming account-wide. Will it be too late though? Let me know in the comments what you think.
Ah, corruption, the supposed improvement on the Titan Forging system. If you haven't kept up to date, Titan Forging is gone, dunzo, sayonara in 8.3. The new system is the Kiss Curse mechanic, where you get a positive and a negative effect at the same time on an item, and the RPG element is balancing the two for an overall positive result. Currently, there are one or two very overpowered affixes that seem to overshadow the others, and from the recent PTR updates, it seems like Blizzard is actually trying to raise the strength of multiple things instead of nerfing down the OP one thing. Wait, let me read this again. This was buff instead of nerf. Holy shit! We are in the Twilight Zone! Not you, Twilight Devastation. There have been numerous corruptions buffed, and I'm personally very excited, and let me tell you why. Once upon a time, we used to love WoW. Here you want to fast forward and my penis, and that's how you make the game better. The standard staff buff corruptions have had their base value bumped up, as well as changing their scaling to an additive one, since the previous one was actually netting you overall less stat value. This makes the affixes a little bit more sought after, considering they are boring to begin with. Proper corruption affixes have had some pretty big buffs actually. Infinite Stars has been changed a lot recently and it's getting a buff right now to its damage, with it being higher and higher for each tier, because you do have tiers for corruptions. Twilight Devastation is another one that has had its damage modifier increased threefold. This particular one looks to be a good weapon for specs like Blood Death Knight, since the damage it deals scales with HP and is a two-handed sword. So realistically, Death Knights would have the biggest advantage out of all other classes, at least on paper. However, the corruption price is still over budgeted if you simply look at the numbers for this particular item. The rank 3 of this sword does less damage than Infinite Stars rank 1, and since you can essentially loot a non-raid two-hander that has a chance to proc Infinite Star on it, that would invalidate the raid weapon almost entirely for the whole tier. Not to mention the damage was buffed, but the proc chance cut in half, so it's a bit foggy if this is a positive for the item or not. The difference seems to be the fact that you can target the raid weapon as opposed to hoping the infinite affix actually rolls. This should paint a picture of the system a bit, and why Blizzard keeps updating and systematically buffing a lot of stuff. It's not as easy to balance as Titan Forging would be, so I can give them that. Balancing is still a crucial thing to not let players feel cheated out of their efforts to aim for a specific item. But this seems a little bit all too negative. The fact is that a lot of affixes have been buffed by quite a bit, and that is a good sign, and overall the chances are pretty positive that all of this is really good. Most likely these will not be the last, and we have to be very careful not to aim for an item, have it corrupted, and then massively changed, regretfully nerfed the following week, since the corruption system seems to be pretty high maintenance as far as balance is concerned.
Grinding alts all day long, grinding alts while I sing this song.
That's the spirit, Orc. Grind some alts with a smile on your face.
Hell
Fuck
yeah.
you, Flame, and fuck Marcelian too. Fucking Blizzard shills keep saying they will make 8.3 alt friendly.
Man, somebody's in need of some Manker's wife. So when you thought that they wrapped everything up for 8.3, you still get some surprises on the PTR, like old Bob here, who comes back for Mythic Dungeons to boost morale on all those who suck and cannot finish their keys in time. Hey, you know I got love for you, and Bob the Fish too. The weird thing about him returning in the new season is that the buff only appears on keys from 9 and lower, and you're right to question this, as usually those keys are rarely not done in time. Maybe it could be a bug, as we're still looking at the PTR, and with this in mind, you're probably missing someone very dear to your Mythic Plus runs. Bum Samdi maybe? I know I miss him. You know, showing up on all my fucked up 10 plus keys, and on that note, wasn't reaping super fun? Well, let's not get too nostalgic here. The main idea is that you are getting that mechanic back, and it's all in good spirit, as you cannot help but feel frustrated whenever you're not finishing a key in time, and it only makes sense for you not to go through shit again and again just to get it done already and move on. Having a 20% buff to health and damage after the key is depleted, and I'm pointing these numbers based on what we had in 8.2, will just accelerate you finishing the disappointing key run more quickly. Let's just hope that the below 9 thing is only a bug, and the new season provides Bobfish to 10 plus also.
And in today's comment of the day, we have The King, and he said,
I don't understand more than 5 words in that intro.
Ce pula mea facem cu aia?
Nu știu că am avut atâtea business-uri cu americani și englezi, n-am avut nicio problemă.
Ah, căcat, eu am o diplomă în engleză avansată, man.
Ba pula?
Ba, pula. Ești pizda mult. It's that time of the year, folks! Or rather, that time of the patch, folks. The new Mythic World First Race has been announced by Method, and it will take part at Take TV Studios in Germany. I say this every time it happens, but these events are amazing for the game. Raiding has been one of the main activities to do in WoW for 15 years or more, and the oldest competitive game mode World of Warcraft had to offer since vanilla. Competitive raiding takes a lot of time and effort from the players involved, and as everything that is this competitive, it's nice to be able to make a living out of it or be rewarded for it, as with any and all forms of competition out there. This is in terms of esports, of course. In terms of WoW specific esports, we already have the Arena World Championship and Mythic Dungeon Invitational, which are already awesome at raising awareness and getting coverage for the game. So the world first race is the final way for the players involved to also receive fan support and sponsorship deals that can sustain their passion. It only takes one to start something, and in this case it's Method. Because of Method, last world first we had Red Bull organizing one of their own with other top contenders, and we can only hope that this time it will be the same, if not even bigger of an event. More guilds should participate in these events, and I know some don't have the resources to organize this, but streaming has been a much better platform at creating exposure, and I think we can all agree at this point that the Method boys are from a different planet. Being able to participate under these conditions and still manage to pull the kill almost every time, whew. Nothing ever lasts, and a more tight competition can only increase the hype, viewership, and exposure for the game, which is pretty much a win-win for everybody. The Ajara World First was the most engaged I have ever been watching other people raid the exact raid I was raiding at the exact time I was raiding it. This time the raid is bigger, the stakes are higher, and I'm so hyped right now I can barely describe it to you. I hope we break viewing records this year and show those League and Fortnite players a proper game, and if BFA, with the state that it has been in, can outshine those giants, and I believe it can, then it will send an even clearer sign to Blizzard that what players want will actually matter.
After a long goddamn time, it's finally some newsworthy week, and you know, we got it covered because we miss doing this shit, man. We always have a lot of fun. There's a lot of bloopers for the Patreons to check out on this episode, but that's not important. What's important is
8.3 is becoming more alt-friendly. Like, we kind of called this a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, a couple of videos ago. That, you know, catch-up systems will be implemented throughout 8.3, but not at the start because, you know, Blizzard still wants people to grind a little bit and get that subscription time going.
Of course.
But Marcelian covered pretty much all of this with the Steve Danuser interview as well.
And Mike Bybee, because Mike Bybee answered the question. Mike Bybee? Mike Bybee. No, it's Bybee. It's an interesting name, I gotta say. But hey, man, he gave us a good answer. They're working on something. That's all we gotta say about it. And the 8.3 survival guide is out, and guess who the fuck is in those comments, man?
How about you guys show some love and hit it with a thumbs up, pump that shit, so Blizzard can realize, oh my god, MarcelianOnline is actually doing videos. We should have invited him to the Content Creator Summit.
Yeah, that's definitely
not salty
true.
at all, not salty
but
at all.
we were the voice of the people there. I mean, that's, you know, the comment that shows up over there, and it's all about account-wide instance. I'm pretty sure, Ian, you've seen that top comment. If you're not watching our videos, look at the comment, man. Shit, fuck.
I love you, Ian. Love Blizzard.
It's been a great week. I mean, right now, there's nothing else to talk about except waiting for 8.3 to hit. You already know our channel is gonna have all those guides ready for you.
And more to come, so you know, keep tuned because we're doing a lot of content. We're trying to, you know, pump as much shit, and of course all of this thanking to our Patreons as well that are supporting our channel constantly. We really appreciate these guys. We've said it numerous times, and you know, if you're interested in giving us a little bit more, supporting our channel a little bit more, check the details down below.
And also in the description, you can find our Twitch link. You can find that motherfucker streaming almost every day, sometimes on the US. Well, there's Thursdays on the US, Saturdays like super long streams, and rest of the days on EU as well. So it's a bunch of mixed stuff over there. You can always hop in, jump for a Mythic Plus or maybe a raid sometimes.
Raids, for sure, man. We're doing that, all of that with you guys most of the times. We have been pushing like more tough content, and the streams will definitely see some changes in the next couple of months, so stay tuned for that. But if you want to see like what actually goes in making footage for our guides, you can definitely check our stream, twitch.tv/MarcelianOnline. Like and subscribe. The weekend is coming. You guys should, you know, relax and keep your eyes peeled because we're gonna have another video for you on Sunday. Thank you so much for watching the video so far. We'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.